So once again, I welcome you to my class. What is communication? Communication is a very common topic. It's a very common thing, a very common word in which means everyone, all of us, all the human beings, they need to communicate with each other. In simple words, communication means sharing of ideas, information, thoughts with other people. Means when one person, when he shares his ideas, his thoughts, his, information with other people, that is called communication. So all the human beings who are who live in society and are called social beings, they cannot live without communicating with others. Communication can be done through words also and without words also. That means we can say that communication has two forms: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So let's see this communication in detail. The table of contents is like what we are going to discuss in this session, that is communication, then meaning and definition, key aspects of communication, objectives of communication, then levels of communication, barriers to communication, and strategies to overcome communication barriers. The learning outcomes means what the learner will be able to learn is like studying communication. It provides learners a comprehensive insight into the multifaceted nature of communication. So here are the key outcomes. First is comprehensive, means the students will be able to understand all about communication. Then they will get a knowledge of the communication, its flow, its types. Then awareness of communication levels, means how communication can be conducted at different levels. What are the levels of communication? Then the learner will be able to identify communication barriers and the strategies to overcome those barriers. Now let's begin with the meaning of communication. Means communication is a process of exchanging information, that is exchanging ideas, thoughts, informations and feelings between two or more people. Means between two individuals, or there can be a group of people. Now it involves the transmission and reception of messages. Means the messages are transmitted from one person to another person and messages are received. Means messages are transmitted from one person and they are received by other person, and there can be many channels, like there can be verbal channel, there can be non-verbal, verbal, non-verbal, written or digital means. So there can be different channels through which messages are communicated. Now effective communication, it requires a sender to convey a message in a way that it can be accurately understood by the receiver, who then provides, means who then understands the message, receives the message, understands the message, and then he gives a feedback. And the feedback is a form of confirmation. Means when the sender gets the feedback, means if he gets the desired response, then it shows that the communication process has taken place perfectly. Now let's see these few definitions of communication. That is, communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs or behavior. Then communication is the act of conveying meaning from one entity or group to another through the use of mutually understood signs, symbols and semantic rules. Then communication in business, it refers to the sharing of information between people within and outside the organization that is performed for the commercial benefit of the organization. So these are 2-3 definitions, but the gist of these definition is that first of all, message is transmitted, means the sender sends the message is received by the receiver, then the receiver, he understands the message, and then he gives the response. And if the response is what the sender is expecting, then the communication process has taken place successfully. Now there is one more thing, means the channel. There are another important things, that is the channel and the method of sending the message, means the symbols, the language, whatever is being used. Means supposing if I am talking to my friend and I am using the language Malayalam, and my friend, she doesn't understand Malayalam, so the message which I will be sending, it will be received by my friend, but she will not be able to decode the message, or means she will not be able to understand the message. So then this kind of message transmission fails, means the process of communication fails here. So it has to be, means the channel has to be perfect, means sometimes the channel means like I can give you an example of channel, that is like if I call a friend, I call my sister, and I want to speak to her, and I'm trying to give her some important information, and because there is a lot of disturbance in the connectivity, she is unable to get the complete message what I am trying to say. So that is also, means that is a way, that is a medium, that is a channel through which I need to connect with my sister. So in that case, the message will not reach her. So the channel and the method, it has to be perfect. Now, the key aspects of communication, means communication is a process which takes place, and there are the key aspects of communication are the sender, the message, the channel, then receiver, feedback, context, and noise. So this is the diagram, like how the means I'll explain the communication process, that is that the sender thinks, means an idea comes to the mind of the sender. So now immediately when the idea comes, it is encoded, means it is encoded in the language, and then the sender sends the message through a channel, means it can be voice, it can be a written message, it can be some non-verbal form also, like signaling or signing or means gesture, that can also be the channel. And then the message is sent, the message is received by the receiver decodes, immediately the message is decoded, and the receiver is able to understand what the message is, and then the receiver gives the feedback, means feedback is, and when the sender gets the feedback, means feedback, if the feedback of the receiver, feedback means the answer, the response that is given by the receiver. So if that response matches the desired response of the sender, then it shows that the communication process has completed. Now the objectives of communication. The objectives of communication are, means the first is information sharing, second is persuasion, third is relationship building, fourth is facilitating understanding, then problem solving, then encouraging feedback, then resolving conflicts, and promoting engagement. So these all are the objectives, means why communication takes place. There can be one or the other reasons that have been mentioned here. Now, providing motivation, educating, coordinating, expressing emotions, and reinforcing identity and culture. So we will see this in detail, the objectives, that is the objective of communication is information sharing, means two people, they communicate with each other if they have to share information. The information can be formal or it can be in an informal environment also, means two friends, neighbors, relatives, sisters talking to each other, means they can share any information, means something that has happened, or just a chit chat, or just saying hello. So it can be, or there is some important information. There can be like informal environment, that is the two colleagues sharing some information about some work. So that is one objective of communication. Then persuasion means communication can be done to persuade a person. Means most of the times what we get a telephonic call from the companies and finance companies, and they would ask like if there is a requirement of loan, and then they would try to convince us that like the percentage of the loan will be very less, and the tenure when the loan has to be repaid will be less, and the interest which will be implied on the loan money would be very less. So this is their method of luring or persuading a person to take the loan. So then next is relationship building, means talking to a neighbor. I have shifted to a new house, and then I call my neighbor and I ask about the well-being of my neighbor, or I just at times just to say hello or to invite a person to, okay, come, let's go out for a cup of coffee. This way, this is relationship building, means when we speak to somebody to build our relationship, to strengthen our relationship. Then the next is facilitating understanding, means when communication is done to facilitate understanding, means to explain something, to make other person understand. Like when in my class, I communicate with my students. So that is to facilitate understanding, means I discuss any one topic, I take up any topic, and then I explain the topic to them. And in between, when they are not able to understand anything, they ask questions and I clarify their doubts. So their communication, the objective of that communication is to facilitate understanding. Then problem solving. There are so many things, means we can say that big problems can be solved over a cup of tea. So there is like problem solving can also be done through communication, means when people communicate with each other, big issues and big problems can be resolved. Then encouraging feedback. Encouraging feedback means when we encourage people to give response, means that is also a way of communication. Means if a new software has been installed in the or introduced in the university or in the organization, then the feedback means a meeting has been called, and some higher up or designated person, he asks all the employees regarding the feedback of regarding the software, like how the software is working, whether it is efficient or not. So it's less painstaking, and the time means it takes less time to do the work now. So that kind of communication is for this thing, for encouraging feedback. So now this is resolving conflicts, means all the conflicts, means when if there is a conflict between two people, and then it begins with a cold war. So if there is a cold war or it is a heated discussion, means if the people will not communicate to each other, then a wall will be created. So this kind of conflict, means to resolve any conflict between two people or among more people, among a group of people, then conversation or communication is a must. And last is promoting engagement. Not last, means last in this page is promoting engagement, means when we want to engage somebody, when we want people to get involved in something, then also we communicate. Means a group of people sitting in a club, and they take up the any topic, they start discussing on NEP 2020 or the latest election results, or any other new policy, finance policy incorporated by the government. So what is it that it is the objective of such a conversation is like to engage everybody, so that a discussion begins and everybody is able to participate. And in this way, knowledge can also be gained. So now the next is providing motivation. Obviously, these motivational speakers, most of the time they hold seminars, they hold classes, sessions to motivate people they try to motivate people to take an action. Or otherwise, the advertisement companies or the advertisement sales calls, they call people to open an account in their bank, they call people to buy a car, so this is a way like they motivate people to take some action. Then educating means obviously when we need to educate somebody, then we communicate. Means that education is also done with the education is also can also be taken up through communication. That I already have given as an example, that how like I teach students in my class. Then coordinating means when we have to coordinate with somebody, then also communication is required. Means if we have to say like two people have to go together to a place, means to a meeting, two colleagues, they have to go together to a meeting, then they will coordinate, okay, let's start at this time, we will reach at this time. So that coordination is required, and that coordination is all the more required when they have to share the contents. Then we have the next is expressing emotions. Obviously, we are happy, we are sad, we are in grief, or we are excited, we are afraid. So all these emotions, they can be expressed only through communication. Reinforcing identity and culture means when we have to reinforce our identity, where we belong to, what is our culture. So that also happens through communication. Now, after the objectives of communication, the next is types of communication. Now, what verbal communication means? There are different types of communication. That is verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and visual communication. So, verbal communication, again, verbal communication is divided into two parts. That is written and oral communication. So, verbal communication is when we written and oral. Written communication is when we write down something, and oral communication is when we speak. Means when words are used to speak, that is called oral verbal communication, and when the words are used to write down and give the message, that is written verbal communication. So these are two essentialities of communication. Then we have non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is the communication that takes place with the help of signals, with the signs, with the symbols. So that kind of or gestures, hand movements, images. So the emojis that we use these days on WhatsApp, sending messages, so they are also a means, they are symbols, so they are also a means of communication. When there is a turn on the road and there is an arrow showing the direction, so that is also a means of communication. When somebody knocks on the door of my cabin in the college and he asks permission for me to come in, so I just nod my head, and that nodding of the head is an affirmation for the person to come in. So that is also a way of communication. So this is non-verbal communication. Means thumbs up. When somebody has done a good work, I give the signal of thumbs up. So that shows that well done. So these all come under the category of non-verbal communication. Then written communication, we have already discussed. Written communication means when the words are used to write down. There are many forms of written communication, like there are reports, essays, messages, articles, proposals, and then we have all the forms. Means when we are writing letters also, letters, emails, so they all are forms of written communication. Then visual communication is something that is shown. Means when some charts, means visual communication, again it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal. Verbal communication is like when we show something written. Means when we show some message written, or some flow chart, from some pie chart, graphs, so they all come under the category of visual communication. Now visual communication can be non-verbal, because this kind of communication, it involves words. So it can be non-verbal visual communication where we show images. Means when an image is shown and the people are there to guess like what the image reflects, or when a scenery, means a scenery of a hill station is reflected, it is shown. So that is also a way of visual communication. Now the next is flow of communication. Means how the communication flows. Means how the communication flow, and the communication can flow in four directions. That is upward communication, downward communication, horizontal, and verticals. These are four types of flows. Means vertical communication can be denoted as a single as a straight line, means vertical line. Means now this vertical communication can be upward also, and it can be downward also. A good example of vertical communication is that when the communication flows from when the communication flows in straight line, that is called vertical communication. So then we have this upward communication. Upward communication is that when the communication moves from colleagues to the head of the organization. Like in our college, when from the faculty it goes to the director, sir. That is upward communication. Then downward communication is that when the head of the institution, he sends a message to the employees. That is downward communication. Now vertical communication can be both upward also and downward also. That means the communication which moves in straight line, means whether it goes from employees to the head of the organization, or it comes from the head of the organization to the employees. So that is called vertical communication. Then the next form of communication is horizontal or lateral communication. Now horizontal or lateral communication is the communication which flows in a horizontal line. Means when, like in a college, there are different departments, like we have BBA, MBA, BCom, MCom. So now when the HODs of all the different departments, when a message flows from one HOD to all the three, that is called horizontal communication. Or when I can give you another example, that there are different teams in an organization. So in that organization there are different team working, and there are team leaders of each team. So when one team leader sends message to the rest of them, so that is called horizontal or lateral communication. Means when the communication flows among the people at the same level, that is called horizontal communication. I hope you people are all able to understand what I'm trying to explain. Now we have, next is levels of communication. Now communication flows at different levels. So these levels are, first is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is that when the communication takes place within the person himself, within one's own self. Means when we are talking to ourselves, when we are when the thoughts are moving in our brain, when we are speaking to ourselves, or when the inner talk is going on, some inner conflict is going on, means when the talk is going on in the thoughts. So that is called intrapersonal communication, that is within one's own self. Then second is interpersonal communication. So let me give you one more example of intrapersonal. So intrapersonal is when we have to take a decision. Means one thought crosses the mind that yes, I should go for it. Then second thought, no, there is a problem, let me not do it. So this conflict of thoughts going in the mind, that is intrapersonal communication. Now we come to the second one, that is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication, as the name suggests, it is between two people or among a group of people. Means when the communication goes between two people or among a group of people, that is called interpersonal communication. Now it can be a team working on something and communicating, working on a project and connecting and communicating with each other. That can be a form of interpersonal communication. Or when a teacher in the class, when the teacher is discussing on some matter, let's say that how that an event is to be organized and a discussion is going on between among the teacher and the students, then that is a form of interpersonal communication. Means when all the people are communicating with each other. Now the next is small group communication. Means when the communication takes place among a small group of people, that means a small team, a team of 4 or 5 members, that is called small group communication. Then the organizational communication, means when the communication takes place between different members of the organization. Let's say in an organization, that is in our university, which is a big university. So in this university, when the message comes or the communication takes place from the VC sir to the dean, and from dean it comes to the directors, and from directors it comes to the faculty, and from faculty it goes to the students. And then means if some data has been asked, so the data is collected by the faculty and then sent across in the same manner. So that kind of communication is called organizational communication. Or when different teams, they sit together and they discuss about the different problems which they are facing or implementation of any policy. So that is called organizational communication. Then the next one is public communication. Means public communication, or it can also it is that when the communication is made at the level of the public, means when some notice is designed for the public, or when some hoarding is designed and erected for the public to see. That means the announcement of a new showroom, or organization of a new event, of an event in the city. So that is public communication. Then we have mass communication. Mass communication is that when the communication takes place among a large number of people, that means a big audience. That is when the Prime Minister addressing the nation. That is a mass communication. The newsreader the newsreader reading news, and news being heard and viewed by people across the country. So that is a form of mass communication. Then we have intercultural communication. Now this intercultural communication is a communication which takes place between people of different culture. Let's say like there is there is a program, intercultural program, where people of different culture, they participate. So the communication which they make with each other, that is called intercultural communication. Then we have mediated communication. Mediated communication is that when some mediator is there between two parties or a group of people, and then the conversation or the communication takes place. That is called mediated communication. Mediated communication, a good example of that is like translator, who is a mediator, who translates the message between two people who are from different language backgrounds. So that is called mediated communication. So these are different forms of communication. Now one thing I would like to add here is that levels of communication, it involves both written communication as well as oral communication. So this communication, it functions at both the levels. This communication, it involves both written communication also, means the levels of communication, they involve written communication also and verbal communication, oral communication also, because they function on both the levels. Now we come to the next topic, that is barriers to communication. We have spoken a lot about communication, and this communication is something which is a must for everyone, because human beings are people who cannot live without communicating, because human beings are said to be social beings and communication is a must for them. So this communication process, it can be hindered. There can be different problems that stop this communication process, or that stops people from communicating with each other. So let's see some of the important barriers which are there in the communication process. Means communication process can be hindered in a way that a person speaks, one person sends the message, but the message is not received or it is not understood by the other person. So the communication process does not complete. So and it can lead to a lot of, and this non-communication or hindered communication or barriers in communication, they can lead to misunderstanding, misinterpretation, and breakdown of relationships. So let's see the types of communication barriers. There are different types of communication barriers, and let's study these barriers one after the other. The first is physical barriers. What are the physical barriers? The physical barriers are like noise. Noise comes under physical barriers, are something that hampers or that hinders the communication process from outside. From outside means like noise. Noise is one of the most important physical barrier. Like when I am taking a class. I am taking a lecture, and the outside there is lot of noise. Means music is being played. Loudspeaker is being played. Loudspeaker is on its highest of the volume, and there is lot of noise. So whatever I am speaking, maybe first one or two rows the students are able to understand, but the rest of the people sitting at the back, they are not able to understand what I am speaking. So that kind of barrier is called physical barrier. So noise, because of the noise created by the loudspeaker being played outside at highest pitch, high volume, or it can be a tractor moving out, or it can be some machine working, the machine which makes a lot of noise, or a generator running outside the room. So all these are different forms of noise creation, and this noise can hinder the communication process. Means whatever the teacher is speaking, it is not, the students in the back rows, they are not able to listen. So this is communication barrier. That is means whatever the lecture delivery is hindered, it failed for the students sitting at the back. So this is one of the physical barriers. Noise is one of the most important physical barriers, and it has a lot of forms. Then the second is distance. Means like if there is a hall in which there is a capacity of 2000 people, and all the people, means the hall is filled. There are people sitting there till the last row, and the mic stops working. So the person who is sitting on the stage, standing on the stage, and when the person is trying to communicate with people, means communicate with the people, or he is delivering a lecture or giving a presentation for the people, so the person sitting in the last row, he will not be able to understand because the mic is not working. So the non-functionality of the mic will lead to hindrance of communication, because the distance from the stage till the last row is too much. So distance can also create a hindrance in the communication process. Then the second is environment. Means environment, like lot of noise in the environment. Means the room where I am doing the recording, if this room is on the roadside, so lot of noise on the roadside, means lot of traffic moving, people moving, and lot of noise outside, means outside noise from the environment. Or inside the room also there is an example. That example I gave for outside the room. But now in the room itself, if a cooler is running, or if a fan is on a high speed, the fan that makes noise, so that also there will be, means whatever recording is being done, there will be a problem, because the voice will not be clear. So that is also these are the elements, means in the environment, that hinder the communication process. So environment can also be a cause of barrier. Environment can also pose as a barrier to communication. So then, like there is if there is noise outside, means like there is a thunderstorm, there is raining, hard rain, raining like cats and dogs, so that also affects that also comes in the environment only. So this was the first type of barrier, that is the physical barrier. Then the next one is psychological barrier. So the psychological barrier is a barrier which takes place in the inside, means inside the person, means in the mind of the person, in the heart of the person. That is a psychological barrier. Means first element of psychological barrier is stress and anxiety. Means when we are under a lot of stress, when we are under a lot of anxiety, so in such a case, means we are unable to understand what the other person is saying. Means the brain is not function, the brain doesn't function properly. We are kind of puzzled, or our attention is towards different things. So when a person is working under stress, or when a person is anxious, means anxiety driven, so in such cases people are not able to understand the message, or they are not able to respond to the message properly. So that makes a communication, that creates as a barrier in communication. Means like if I have to reach on time for the meeting and I am under stress, I am worried because I'm getting late. So at that time, if somebody tries to say something, I will not be able to understand, and I can snap on that person also, I can reply in the bad tone, or maybe I can misunderstand that person. And anxiety means, again, it is the same, stress and anxiety. So anxiety is like, again, I am in an anxiety, in an anxious situation. I have to give a presentation, and my presentation is not working. So my friends, or the colleagues, they try to say like, you run it like this, you run it, and like I'm not able to understand. Or something which I have saved that presentation in my mail also. So my PD, the presentation is not working, but my brain, in the anxiety situation, in the anxious situation, my brain, it slips from my brain that I can access the presentation through my mail also. So that is in an anxiety, anxious situation. And when somebody is trying to tell me like, you access your mail, then I say, no, I don't know what is something. So that is in the anxiety situation also. Means stress and anxiety are emotions which are created, are situations which are created in the mind of a person, and it stops any other kind of communication. And even if the communication takes place, it is not complete, means it is broken or it is fragmented, so it doesn't give the desired response. So then the second one is emotional state. Means when a person is in the state of emotions, or extreme or high emotional state, means a person is very sad or very happy. Means when I am very happy, means if somebody comes to say something to me, I will not listen to that person. Means I'll be like, I'm so happy, I'm so excited, that I will not even consider that why the other person has come to me. Means if the other person has come to me and the other person is trying to say something, I might not give the chance to the other person to speak. Or maybe if he speaks, I may cut across his words and give tell him the reason for my happiness. So that is also one stage, means emotional stage, in which we do not allow the other person to communicate properly. Then means if I am in an angry situation, means I am very angry, and a student comes to me and he tries to ask a question. So before he completes his question, I start shouting, what are you people doing in the class? When I was discussing this topic, you should have asked me that, and the question you are raising, I have already given that question. Means I have already explained that question. Why don't you pay attention? So before I allow my student to complete what he is trying to say, I have an outburst. So that hinders the communication process there and then. So an extreme emotional state also functions as a communication barrier. So means the person who came and he got such a wild scolding, he would just go back without completing his words or his statement or what his thought, whatever he had approached me for. He won't be able to even correct me that, ma'am, this is not, I was asking something else. Maybe his question is something else. Maybe his question is different, but my outburst will stop him from communicating. So the next one is, I hope that these examples, because I try to draw the examples from my daily experiences and from my practical life. So because I am a teacher and I deal with the students in my everyday life, so these are the examples that are best suitable for me, and they are the ones which immediately cross the mind. So I hope you people are also able to understand with the examples, means the points which I am trying to clarify. Now the next point which we have to do is perception and perception and attitudes means the perception and attitudes of the people. Means like this is again, I can give you a very good example to explain a perception. The perception is like I have a perception that one student in my class, he is very notorious and he always tries to avoid any kind of responsibility that is given to him. So I have a perception of one student. So now I have given a student an assignment or a work to be done, that you have to do this work. Let's say that when I come to the class, before that, please switch on the projector and means start the PPT that I have to that is being installed there, or install the PPT there on the board. So when the student comes to me and he says like, ma'am, I'm not able to install the PPT because, and I don't listen to him and I start scolding him that yes, I knew you won't be able to do this much work also. I was a fool that I have given this responsibility to you. Now when I go to the class again, I'll have to waste 5 minutes. So this much work also you couldn't do. So what I did, I had an outburst on him. So why was that outburst? Because I did not listen to his words properly, and because of my preconceived ideas, because of my prior perceptions which I had made, that this student is notorious and he will try to escape the work in whichever form possible. So means actually the problem was that the PPT he had installed was not working there. So it was not supportive. So I did not allow him to complete his work and I started shouting on him. So the communication is hindered. Means whatever he was trying to speak, he is unable to speak because of my perception, my preconceived ideas and attitude. So that means the negative attitude that I had for him. So now one more thing is there. Attitudes, I can say like if I have a negative attitude for something, means I don't like drinking milk, and like my mother, she says that listen, in the evening today you have to drink milk, and before she says anything, I start rambling. No, and milk, I don't like drinking milk, and you know that I have a very sickening feeling when I drink milk. So then she says that I did not allow her to complete, but her complete sentence was that you should drink milk, you have to drink milk, so I have prepared cold coffee with ice cream for you. So I did not allow her. That is my favorite. Cold coffee and ice cream is my favorite. Because of my negative attitude towards milk, because I don't want to drink milk, I don't allow her to complete her words, and I simply start I start speaking, I start putting forward my thoughts. So that hinders. So these are some ways which hinders the communication, psychological barriers which pose as a psychological barrier in communication. Now the next are language barriers. So all of us, we know that if we are unknown of the language, then obviously there can be a language barrier. Means if I have to communicate with my friend and I know Bengali and she is a Gujarati. She doesn't know Gujarati properly. She doesn't know Bengali properly. So she uses Bengali language and I use Gujarati language. She doesn't know Bengali and I don't know Gujarati. So if during conversation some phrases, some sentences of any of the languages is being used, so the communication or phrases are being used, so the communication process will not be completed. Means there can be a misunderstanding, there can be a misconception because of the language barrier. So the first of the language barrier is jargons and slangs. Means if I am from an educational field, so if I tell my friend like today I have to take a CT. So CT in the educational arena in our college specifically, CT means class test. So if I say I have to take a CT, so somebody who doesn't understand what CT is, CT for us is class test, but then somebody might say CT is a short form for CT scan. So he might be worried that why, my friend would be worried that why she needs to take a CT, means she would ask, is there any problem? So this can be these kind of jargons and these kind of slangs, they can, and the slang words, they can pose a barrier to the communication. Then accent and dialect. Accent and dialect means people like Americans. Americans have a different accent, or we can say that Indian people of belonging to different states, their vernacular or the mother tongue dominates their English accent. So because of the difference in the accent and because of the dialect, the language, sometimes it becomes difficult to understand the language, and if it becomes difficult to understand the language, so there can be a misunderstanding created. So there can be, this is the accent and the dialect. Then the next is semantics. So semantics also play an important role. Means semantics means the sentences which are being, the language which is being used, the sentences which are formed. So if the knowledge of that is not proper, then also the barrier can be created. Now the next one is cultural barriers. Means the cultural barriers are like values and beliefs. Means the barriers which are related to different cultures. Means some things are there, some activities, some things are there which are associated with a particular culture, or with a particular religion also, we can say. So such practices, they can also pose a barrier. Now that is values and beliefs. Means like in some cultures, it is believed that after the sunset we should not sweep the floor. Okay, in some cultures there is a practice that after the sunset and before the sunrise, the floors should not be swept. Right? Now, when somebody comes to my house and the floor is dirty because due to any reason, means something has spilled, or due to any reason the floor is dirty, so the person would think that I am a dirty person. But it is because the person doesn't know, the other individual doesn't know that it is in my culture that we do not sweep the floors. So I might have tried to clean it with a cloth or something, but it is not that clean as it gets clean after sweeping. So then it can send the message across to the other person. Maybe like if it is there in an organization, so if my boss comes to my cabin and he says that why you didn't get the floor swept but you could have called the sweeper, like your cabin is so dirty, there is muck on your floor, so you could have asked the person to sweep the floor. And the boss doesn't know that we believe, our belief is that we do not get the floors swept after the sunset. So he would get an impression. Means if I say no sir, it is, means I have tried to clean it by myself. So he would get a message that means miscommunication would be created, that he would think that he had specifically spoken about keeping the cabins clean, and like I have kept my cabin dirty. So there can be a miscommunication on this end. Now the second point here is body language and body language and gestures. Means body language is let's first focus on the body language. Means when somebody comes to my house and my words are like I can say not my words. Body language is something like I like to walk straight, but then straight walking means walking erect. It can even reflect that I am arrogant. So the body language should also suit according to the situation and the position we are in. So it is like, why means if I am standing erect, or if my posture is My posture is slouch, means I slouch. So that is my posture. So if I sit in a slouch manner in a cabin, and if somebody comes, he would think that I am lazing around. So that is means my body language will reflect the message, will give the message that I am lazing around. So that would also that and the person, if he is higher up, he would like, he can say that there is so much work and you are lazing around. So that way also, that also gives a wrong, that also communicates a wrong message. So that like gestures is like, if I am gesturing at the person to means I'm waving my hand. So that waving my hand can be to attract attention also, or waving my hand can be to say hi to a person, or raising that hand can also ask the person to stop. So the other person means if I have raised my hand to tell the other person to stop, and the other person feels that I am trying to say hi, so the other person can say hi, and like I do not respond, and then miscommunication is created. So it also gives a wrong message. Means if there is misunderstanding of the gestures, then also the communication can be misunderstood. Then the next one is communication style. So whatever the communication pattern or whatever the communication style is, that also creates a misunderstanding among people. Means it can be wrongly communicated. Means like, if I can give you an example, that communication style means, if a communication, if like in an organization, there are two ways of communicating. There is one way is an email, and the other way is a WhatsApp message. So if in that organization, means for formal communication, it is the emails that are being used for the among the members of the organization, and informal messages, they are done in a light mood, and means they are sort of some casual messages which are being circulated on WhatsApp groups. So if a message, an important message, if it comes on the WhatsApp group, but then it is that, it means then nobody will adhere to that message, or no one will take that, means the members of that organization, they will not take that message seriously, because WhatsApp group is, in that organization, WhatsApp group is meant for casual message. So there can be a miscommunication in the communication. There can be miscommunication or a hindrance in the communication process. Now the next one is organizational barriers. Now organizational barriers are hierarchical structure. Means organizational barriers are the barriers which takes place in an organization. As the name suggests, means the barriers or hindrance in communication in an organization. So now these are, first is hierarchical structure. Means in the barriers which are created because of the hierarchy. Means like in most of the organizations, if in most of the organizations, or I can say that in an organization, when the structure of the organization is is like that, or the culture of the organization is like that, that messages are communicated from the higher ups to the junior people. So then it is like the messages are coming, so they are one-sided messages. So that is one-sided communication. Means if at the junior level, if the people, they have to convey something to the higher ups, then it becomes difficult. Means they are unable to communicate. So the communication, because the communication is generally one-sided, so it creates a hindrance in the communication. Means if there is any problem, the junior people, they will not be able to tell their higher-ups because of the hierarchical structure. Then next is policies and rules. There are certain organizations in which the structure is that if the communication has to take place, means like if I have to if like in an organization, like if there is there is a team, then the team members. So on the team members, there is a team leader. Then on the team leader, there is the team manager. Then on the team manager, there is a general manager. Then general manager, there is a some more higher position, assistant director, and then we have the director, and then we have the CEO. So now if an employee of that organization, let's say a team member of that organization, he has to communicate to the director. So he will have to, means the structure or the culture of that organization is that we have that the members of that the employees of that organization, they have to follow the rules, and the rules and the policies, mean the rules are that the message should be conveyed in an hierarchical order. So the team member, he will send an email to the leader. The leader will send to the team manager. The team manager will send to the general manager, and so forth. The message would reach the director. So if any person in between, he purposely or unpurposely, if he doesn't share the mail to his higher up, the communication will stop. So what would be the message which will come to the team leader, team member, that maybe if it is an application for a promotion, or if it is an email regarding some process, or if it is regarding leave. So if the message is not properly communicated through the channel, if the message doesn't reach the higher up, so obviously the higher up will not, if he is unknown about the message, he won't be able to take any decision. And if the team member, if he doesn't get the message, he will think that his message is not approved. So what is this? This is miscommunication. This is barrier in the communication which is created because of the policies or because of the rules or the culture of the organization. Then the next is lack of communication channel, means when we have to communicate with somebody and we do not know the email address, or we do not know the phone number of that person, or we do not know the address of that person, then obviously communication cannot be done. So these were all the organizational barriers which pose a hindrance in the communication. Now our next is interpersonal barriers. Interpersonal barriers are when the barriers are created between two people or among a group of people. So this is first is lack of trust. When I do not trust my friend, then if there is an important information, I will not share with her. So a hindrance is created because of the lack of trust. Then the next is power dynamics, means power dynamics again, like when there are people, means if there is a message which I need to communicate to my higher ups, but I don't want to tell them because I don't know what will be their response to that message. Means I'm scared that they might hold me only responsible for any situation, or they might ask me the source of information from where I have got the information, and I am not in a position to reveal the source, so I will not communicate the message to them. So that also poses a barrier to communication. Then we have poor listening skills, means if a person has poor listening skills, means if a person is a passive listener, or if a person is unable to listen clearly, means he has listening problems. So then in both the cases, means either he is a passive listener, or he has attention problem, or he has physical listening problems. So in that case, if I am telling something to my colleague, and because of his weak listening powers, he is unable to listen. So if I ask him like, so what should I do? And he says, means I have discussed a problem with him, and I say like, what should I do? And he says, sorry, I did not listen. So that means it will give me an impression that maybe he's not interested in listening to me, if I am not aware of the fact that he actually has physical listening problem, means his hearing is impaired. So if I do not know that, so I will lose interest, and next time whatever problem would be, I will not share with my friend. So another can be the case of passive listening, and passive listening can be because a person is not interested, or if the person is overbooked, overworked, or over occupied. So in both the cases, if I share something with my colleague and he doesn't pay attention to it, then obviously I will not do next time. So that also poses a barrier to the communication. So the last are the technological barriers. The last group is of technological barriers, means the barriers in the communication process which are created because of the technology. And because of the technology, the barriers which are created are like first is technical issues, means I need to speak to my friend and I call her. So because of some technical problem, because of some technical issues in the in the network, so I am unable to convey the message to her. Or maybe there are certain technical issues in her phone or my phone, so then also the message does not reach her. So that is one example of technical issues that create hindrance in the communication process. Then the second is over reliance on technology, means when I have to send an important information and I send the mail, but because the server is down, so because of that technical issue, or because there is some network issues there are some network issues in the company. Let's say I use Airtel or I use Jio, and there is some technical error in the network of Jio. So in that case, the email which is of high urgency, that email will not reach, because I have I over rely on the technology, and I say like, okay, the moment I'll finish my work, I'll share this email with the boss, and the email will reach within 2 or 3 minutes, and well before the time of the meeting, means that is some urgent email. So I am relying on technology, and at that case, like if there are certain issues in the mobile network, or there are issues related to the server, and the server is down, let's say the Gmail server is down, or there are issues in the Jio network and the email doesn't reach, so the communication is hindered. Then the next is, and not only hindered, it leads to some serious consequences also. So then it is digital literacy, means if a person is not digitally literate, so the person an individual who is not digitally literate, means if an individual doesn't know how to send a message by WhatsApp, or a simple message, or an email, or a video conferencing, so what means, if these kind of things are not there, then the message cannot be sent. So these all are different forms of barriers which are created at the different types of barriers which are created in communication, means which hinders or which obstruct the communication process. So at length I have discussed each and every barrier, giving you example, different types of barriers and their different points also. So I hope you have understood properly what barriers in communication are. So now my next and the last topic is strategies to overcome these communication barriers, because communication means when the barrier is when the barrier is created in communication, then it becomes an urgent need that we have to overcome those barriers, means because without overcoming the barriers, the communication process will not take place successfully. So there are different strategies need to be used to overcome these communication barriers. So the first is active listening, means active listening is when a person pays full attention to what he is listening, and when the person listens attentively, means when the person listens attentively, whatever the message is understood, means registered in the brain, it is understood by the individual, and then the response is given by the individual. That is called active listening. So if a person is an active listener, then there won't be any problem in absorbing the message or the communication process to take place properly. Then the second is feedback. Means feedback is a must. Means if I have delivered a lecture in my class and I ask my students, means the feedback which I need to take my students to check their understanding, whether the comprehension has taken place, means whether they are able to understand my lecture properly or not. So in that case, I need to raise questions, and if I get appropriate answers, if I get proper answers, then it means that the communication process has taken place properly. So the feedback is one way to know that the communication has taken place properly. Means if I have sent an email to my colleague and it is of high urgency, then I ask my colleague to confirm the email, so he would say yes, received. So that much confirmation is the feedback which ensures that yes, the email has reached properly. And this is something which is mostly done in the case of money transactions also, that when a money is being transaction, that it is being asked from the other person to communicate that yes, the other person has successfully received the money. So these are two forms, that is active listening and feedback. Then the next one is, the next point is simplified language. Means the language that should be used for communication should be simple. Means even if a person is well educated, the person should not use hi-fi language or jargons or technical words, because that will not be understood by the other people. So simplify language means try to use as much simple language as possible. Means the message which should be conveyed should be clear, the language should be simple, the sentences should be small, so that the message which goes across is proper. Then the next is cultural sensitivity. Means cultural, such phrases which are associated with a particular culture, or means some words which are associated with a culture, they should be avoided, because we do not know that what is the culture of the person who belongs to who is my friend. Let's say like there is a culture, means in some communities it is that some people they in their culture they eat rice with hand, they enjoy eating rice with hand. And like when I speak to my friend, I said like I feel such people, means the people who are who eat rice with hand, oh it's awk, means I feel it's so dirty to eat rice with hand. And if my friend he does it, so what would happen? That the relationship is broken, right? So means this is just an example of cultural sensitivity. So means messages which are, or language or the methods of communication which are culturally sensitive, means those messages should not be, those methods should not be adopted. Then improve environment means if I have to do a recording, then I should do the recording at a place. I should ask the person, means if a generator is running outside, so then I should take time, that I should choose that time for recording when the environment is clear, means when the generator is not functioning. Or if I have to record a lecture for 1 hour or 2 hours, then I should request the person to stop the generator if possible for those 2 hours, or if there is any other machine, to stop that machine for those 2 hours. Or I should change the environment so that there is no disturbance from outside or disturbance of the environment. Then training and development means training and development is very important. Means training should be given Training and development means training should be given and people should be made to learn different forms so that the communication process is can take place properly. Means if the training is given how to access, means I can just take an example. If I train my mother like how she can send the messages or how she can reply to the WhatsApp, then the communication process can take place. Means I can even train her how to record the messages in her voice. Means if she doesn't want to type, she can record the messages on WhatsApp in her voice and she can send them to me. So that is also a way of communicating. Means that is also one strategy to overcome communication barriers. Now the next is utilize technology. So these are two: training and development and utilize technology. Means I can teach my mother who is around 80, who's 80 plus. I can teach my mother like how she can operate the video conferencing, and like through video conferencing she can talk to me. So we can utilize technology also to communicate. Then the next is simplify language. This I have already discussed, that the language should be simplified. Means simple language which is easily understood by the people. That language should be used. Then next is recognition of barriers. That is, means recognizing the barriers is very important. Means we need to understand that what the barriers are, what the problem is, because once we know the problem, then only we can take steps to overcome that problem. Then second is strategies for overcoming barriers, that is understanding communication levels. Means some more strategies for overcoming the barriers. Means we have discussed main strategies, but some more strategies are there. That is understanding communication levels. Means we need to understand that to what level we have to communicate and how the communication should take place. That means improved interaction. Means if I have to communicate with my team leader, then I need to improve my interaction with my team leader, and then only I can communicate my message properly to him, whether the message is personal or the message is in person. Then the next is enhanced relationships. Means when the relationships are improved, means these are two-way. This is a two-way process. Means when we communicate to the person, the relationship improves, and to improve the relationship we need to communicate with the person. So it is a two-way process. So to enhance the relationship we need to communicate more with people. Then the next is broader reach. Means we need to reach out to broader level of people. Means our reach should be broader. Means it should not be restricted to means if I need to communicate some message, means if I have to communicate a message to save water, then it should not reach only the students of my class. Then I should reach it to the students of other class also, or I can reach it I should reach to the entire college, and that can be done like I can collect the college means all the students of my college in a big hall, and then I can counsel them about how to save water or how to save environment. So the messages can reach to a broader aspect also. Means now effective communication. The effective communication takes place. It is the process of exchanging. Means all these things which we people have been discussing is for effective communication. That we people are able to communicate effectively with other people. So effective communication is the process, means in which the messages, the ideas, the thoughts or the feelings, they are conveyed properly on time and with the exact meaning which we want them to convey. So these all methods which we were discussing, they were for an effective communication. Now these are the different elements which are utilized for effective communication, that is clarity and precision. Means first is the message which we need to reach the other people. That message should be clear. Means the sender should convey the message in simple language, in clear words, in short sentences, so that the message is clear to the other person. So in spite of the fact that the message is written or oral, it has to be, clarity has to be there in the message. Then the next is conciseness, means the message should be brief and it should be to the point. Means if a message means the message should be as short as possible, because the communication, if it is done in long, means if one paragraph communication or a communication of number of pages, means obviously people would choose one paragraph communication. So a brief communication to the point is appreciated by the people, because today nobody has time to read long passages. Then the next is active listening, means listening. Active listening is the core, because if the message is communicated orally, then active listening plays an important role. That is engagement, means the receiver should fully concentrate on what the message is, means the receiver should listen the message, understand the message, and then respond according to the message. So to listen, to respond to a message in a proper manner, to give a positive feedback, or we can say the desired response, active listening is a must, means proper engagement is a must, proper paying attention is a must. Then the next is feedback, means after listening to the message, the receiver should give a feedback, because feedback reflects the response, means if it is the response, if it is a desired response of the sender, then it means that the communication process has taken place effectively. So feedback is a must. Then next is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication means the body language, means what I am trying to say and what my body language is speaking. Means if somebody comes to my house and I welcome that person, and my words are like, please come in, please come in, you are welcome, and I have a very stoic look on my face, or I have a very strict look in my face, means there is absence of smile, there is absence, means my face is not polite, my face is, my language, my words are not, my tone is not polite, and my face has a strict or a stoic expression. Then the person across would get confused that whether, means my expression says that I am that the person who has come is not welcome, but my words say that yes, you are welcome, please, you are welcome. So that confuses a person. So means my body language, my facial expressions should be in match with the tone and the words which I speak. Then the next is eye contact, means appropriate eye contact means looking directly into the eyes of person. That is, means if I am confident, I am looking into the eyes of the person and speaking. That shows that I am confident in what I am saying. I have a lot of means I have trust on what I am speaking, and I am speaking truth. Means when a person speaks, an individual speaks to you, looking with glancing sideways, means sideways glances, not looking directly at you, that means that is a sign that the information which he is giving is not correct. He might be lying, or he might be making up some information and giving. So eye contact, direct eye contact is a must. Then means eye contact also shows, means looking at the class, looking at my students, maintaining a direct eye contact, means it alerts them that the teacher can ask questions, so they pay more attention towards me and to my words, and like making an eye contact with them, the expression in their eyes, they tell me that whether they are able to understand what I am saying. That means the message which I am giving, whether they are able to understand or not. So eye contact also tells a lot. Then the next is tone of voice. So I have already given you an example of tone of voice, means what I am saying, what my words are, and what my tone is. Means from the tone also, if my tone is not confident, if my tone is not confident, it shows lack of it shows that I might not be I might not be very sure of what I am saying. Or if my tone is arrogant, then it shows my rudeness. And if my tone is too polite, then the person across thinks that I can be easily molded, or I am flexible, I am of flexible nature. So the tone needs to be assertive. Means, one more example I would like to give, which crossed my mind. Like, my tone is like, I ask my student that this is an event and you have to do the comparing, and he will say, yes ma'am, I'll do. And there is a tone, yes ma'am, I'll do it, I can do it. Okay ma'am, I'll do. So the first one is, yes, I can do it. Means it shows the enthusiasm, it shows the confidence in the tone of the speaker, that yes, he can do it. Means, but the second tone, yes ma'am, I can do it. So this tone is like too polite, and it is a weak tone, which shows lack of confidence. So obviously I will delegate the responsibility to the first speaker, because from his tone I can make out that yes, the person is confident, the person is enthusiastic, and he can do. Now, the next one is empathy and respect. Empathy means understanding the other person. Empathy means when we understand, when we put ourselves in the shoes of the other person, and then we take an action. Means, if somebody is if my colleague tells me that she has not been able to prepare for her lesson because she had 102 fever, then I need to put myself in her situation, that if I had 102 fever last night, so do you think that I'll be able to do the work, or I would be able to complete the assignment? No. So understanding a person, and then understanding a person, there is also a must for proper communication. Then the next one is respect. Respect means we need to respect the principles, respect the opinions of the other person. Then the next one is feedback mechanism. Means, what is the mechanism that has been employed for feedback? Means, what is the form of feedback? That is two-way interaction. Two-way interaction means feedback. Two-way interaction means, for effective communication, two-way interaction is a must. Means, I ask a question and my student gives me an answer, or I ask one of my family members to do some work, and he says like, this work can be done in this much time, and this one would be the money. So our two-way interaction is a must for proper communication, because that enhances the understanding, that improves the relation, and enhance that, and good communication can take place. Then effective communication can take place. Then constructive feedback means, constructive feedback is like when a person, constructive feedback is that providing and receiving feedback that is helpful. Means, that is helpful, and that is aimed to make improvement. Means, if I ask my friend that we have to do certain work, and then she tells me that how the work can be done, so that is effective, that is enhanced, or constructive feedback. Means, if I tell her that this is one way, means this is the work which we people have to do, and then she says that okay, you do this work and I'll do this work, and these softwares can be utilized to do this work with using less time and less effort. So this kind of feedback, or this kind of discussion, is constructive. Means constructive. So this is this can emphasize on effective communication. Then the next is appropriate medium. Means, choosing the right channel. Means, whatever work we need to do. Means, if the medium which we choose should be correct. Like, if the mediums that can be face to face, or email, or phone, depending upon the context in which the message needs to be conveyed. So appropriate medium should be used, and when the medium is appropriate, obviously the communication which would take place is effective. Like, if it says I need like, if supposing I am a team member, I am a team leader, and I need my team members to do some work, so instead of sending a message, I need to talk to them face to face, individually, and or in a group face to face. So face to face will ensure means will which ensure effective communication, and it will ensure that the work is done on the properly and on time. So the medium role plays an important role in effective communication. Then emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is self-awareness. That what means understanding one's own potential, means how what I can do and how I can influence the communication. Then regulation. Regulation means managing emotions to communicate effectively. That is even if I am not in a good emotional health, means if like I had a quarrel with one of my family members, but then that emotions I need to manage, and when I come to my workplace I should not let those emotions hinder my work. So regulating or regulation of emotions is a must. Controlling of emotions is a must for effective communication. Then the next is preparation and adaptability. Preparation and adaptability means if we plan, means effective communication or effective means organizing thoughts, and first organizing thoughts and information in a proper manner, that leads to effective communication. Means we need to plan, means if we have to convey a message, if I have to write a work related email to my colleagues, then I need to first plan what the message is, how the message should be given, which form of language should be used so that the message becomes effective. So that proper planning needs to be done. Then adaptability means adjusting the communication style, means the message needs to be adjusted according to the audience and according to the situation. Means what message I am giving and to who are my audience, and what is the form, what is the situation in which the message needs to be communicated. So the message should be adapted to the situation. Then the next is mutual understanding. Means mutual understanding is a must for effective communication. Means ensuring both parties, means means ensuring that both parties, means the parties they share an understanding. Shared understanding means both the parties who are means the parties who are communicating with each other, means one is the receiver and one is the sender and one is the receiver, means both those parties they have a shared understanding, they understand each other well, so the communication will take place effectively. Then clarification means asking questions and clarifying doubts. Means instead of keeping a message and understanding a message in a wrong manner, it is better to clarify the doubts and clarify the message. Now, what is the importance of effective communication? That is, effective communication, it builds relationships. Means if the communication has taken place effectively, then it builds relationships. Means if a task has been given, or if an email has been sent to be my boss, and I respond properly, giving all the information, so then it will enhance the reliability. The reliability means my boss it will create a good impression on my boss, that yes, the information which I give, that is relatable, it is reliable, and it is on time. So effective communication, it helps in building relationships. Then enhances collaboration. Means good communication, effective communication in organizations, in business organizations, means it helps people, the company, to connect with the clients. Means their work is means their collaboration is enhanced. Like if the communication is on time, if the communication is to the point, and if the communication is reliable, and all important information is given. Then the next one is the next one is it increases efficiency. Means the effective communication which is done properly, or effective communication, it increases efficiency of the working pattern. Means immediately, means if proper communication is given, if my boss sends gives me the message, means the work is done. If it is being, if proper information is given, then obviously the work that will be done will be, if the information is communicated to me properly, then obviously I will work on those guidelines and the work that I do will be proper. Then the next is resolving conflicts. That yes, effective communication is a must to resolve conflicts. Means all the conflicts can be resolved if the communication which is done is proper. Means if I am talking, if I had a tiff with my friend, so and I need to resolve the conflict, then I need to speak to her or write an email. So my tone should be very polite and I should put forward my words. Like if in my message, whether speaking or written, if I keep on blaming her, then obviously the conflict will not be released. So the communication needs to be done in a proper manner. Means the tone should be polite, the words should be chosen carefully, and it should be presented in a manner, in an effective manner, so that the conflict is resolved. So that is all about communication. I had dealt with all the different aspects of communication, and I hope that all of you are able to understand. Means in today's session, we people have discussed all about communication. What is communication? What are the different types of communications? Different types of communication. Then the elements of communication, the 5 elements of communication. Then the process of communication, how these elements they work together to complete the process of communication. And then we have discussed the levels of communication, that how communication flows at different levels. Then after that, we came to the barriers to communication. What are the issues that pose barriers to communication, and then how those strategies to overcome those barriers, how communication, by overcoming these barriers, the communication process can take place effectively.